All right, so this movie came out 3 decades ago. It's one of the most inexplicable success stories I can remember. It shouldn't have worked. Joe Pesci had a couple other ones of these, like The Super and With Honors and
With Honors.
idea movies that just didn't work. This one worked. It won Marisa Tomei an Oscar. I don't know. Where do you want to start, CR?
I know we could do Pesci as unlikely movie star, or we could do fish out of water movies and how reliably entertaining those are.
Or we could do, for some reason, lawyers and legal people feel like this is the most honest
accurate
legal movie and accurate that anyone's done. The way he cross-examines people, it's very Johnny Cochran in 1994-ish, just breaking down defendants and flipping stuff they said against them. And it's very popular in the community, Wesley.
I, before we started, was in the middle of taking a poll of my friends, my lawyer friends, and their favorite movies. I don't know if My Cousin Vinny is going to come up.
Yeah.
But I do think that I don't know. There's so many things about this movie that are delightful, and weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I know why it works because it's got, you're taking the Fish Out of Water movie.
Yeah.
The courtroom movie.
Underdog.
The trial movie.
Underdog movie.
You're right.
So 3 successful gimmicks coming out of the gate.
Well, this is the thing I love about Courtroom Month, right? Really, what these movies are sports movies.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Right? They're all sports movies.
Is every movie a sports movie, CR?
No, Heat's not a sports movie, right?
Is it? Are we sure?
What's the sad one?
De Niro versus Pacino for
it's
2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's like
You're
Game 7.
absolutely. I was thinking about that when I was watching it the other night, where I was just like, this like final 30 minutes, just like the final 30 minutes for most courtroom movies, is the big game.
Yep.
It's like this guy, the lawyer's gotten his shit together. He's finally figured it out. He got a good night's sleep in this case. And yeah, it becomes basically Hoosiers in the last 30 minutes.
And there's usually a rookie, right? The lawyer we're rooting for is either washed up or has never practiced the law before in a meaningful way. And the trial, for all of the symbolism or metaphor or allegory for what a trial is in a work of art, like the trial is this realm in which that person, either, the washed up verdict version of this person, or, a rookie who should not be in court at all.
Right.
Defending anybody.
Well, there's two types
wins.
of My Cousin Vinny people. There's the type that got worn down by the movie over time because it was always on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me. I didn't love it right away.
Did you see it when it came out?
Yeah. And I thought it was fine. I liked Marisa Tomei. I remembered her from, she was on Different World for like a season or 2 seasons.
She was the white girl on A Different World.
Yeah, so she was on the radar from that. But, and I like Pesci, but it was like, all right, enjoyed myself. But then by the late 90s, this movie was just on.
Yeah.
This is like the definition of rewatchable. And so it was a slow burn. Other people loved it right away. But people in my family, the Italian side, they were like, they thought this was the funniest movie of all time.
That's the other thing, culture clash movie. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You've
That's
two
another gimmick.
different cultures clashing in a very sort of it's not benign, but it also isn't like it's really rather sweet.
Yeah. How many Italians versus the South? It's like in that Sopranos when...
I mean, Green Book's the only thing I can think of.
The Italians versus the South is like the old school Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they used to be like, they never see each other until the Rose Bowl. Like,
well, it's like, who's the guy
versus SC? Who could have thought this would come up? Yeah.
Who is the gay character in The Sopranos who goes to New Hampshire in hiding?
Oh,
Vito
yeah.
Spatafor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden he's in New Hampshire, and it's like
Secretly
Italians in New
handsome
Hampshire.
Vito. Yeah.
And there was that other one when Tony was on the college visit. He was like in Maine.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to see the Italians. I could say this because I'm half Italian. Out of their element. This is like the all-time Italians out of their element.
Do you know what the thing is it's funny that you sounded a little ambivalent about this movie as you first started talking about it. And I was wondering, like,
I'm not ambivalent.
No,
I like
know.
This movie.
Yeah. But this is a really old-fashioned movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the gags are old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching this and I was like, we do a lot of what's aged this and what's aged that. And it's not even that there's anything that's aged the worst in this movie, although I'm sure we'll come up with some stuff. it's more that it's just like, if you showed this to a kid today, I don't know if Ben watched this.
Oh, my kids were out in 10 minutes. I was trying to make them watch it.
The pacing,
the pacing's
technology,
too slow for them.
and even just like the stakes are kind of like, well, of course they're gonna, like, you're gonna get these guys off. This was like a mistake in the beginning. It can't go that far, right? And it's almost like Preston Sturgesy, where it's just like it's kind of screwball in its conception.
Yes,
but
not in its execution though.
No,
I was thinking it's because it's 92. But it's still the legacy of that Three's Company era of misunderstandings. That could be entire episodes.
Yes.
That whole misunderstanding sitcom era, which Friends was like the last one that really dove into it. And now nobody does it. But My Cousin Vinny has 2 of them in the first 20 minutes. It's like, oh, I thought you meant this.
It's like you hear the woman behind the door and she's just putting her stockings on, but you think she's having sex. And the whole time you're like, what?
Right.
Chris said he's moving. Wait, Chris isn't moving. He was talking about his neighbor.
Yeah.
And this was, 53's Company episodes?
Yeah. There's a lot in this movie that where it doesn't work. You really have to be kind of well-versed in American
pop culture,
entertainment culture, right? Like entertainment, TV entertainment culture, right? Where you have to know that this is kind of like a body, almost vaudeville level series of misunderstandings because it doesn't work. It's not like Moliere. It's not like a European misunderstanding. It's a really crass American
they weren't expecting us to be breaking down like picking nits 31 years later. My Cousin Vinny. And it's kind of like a TV movie. It's like a well-done TV movie with great actors. It's 15 minutes too long. And the last half hour is lights out. As soon as he gets his shit together, it just ends. It's just humming down the stretch.
And it needs him. There's a couple things that the movie probably could have been 75. It's 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it probably could have been 75 minutes because there's a whole stretch where Joe Pesci is a little stupider than he needs to be.
Well, he's constantly falling asleep. Like the gag of him not being able to sleep and him just being out of it in court, which now this time I watched it, I was like, so this entire time, it's just because he's not getting any sleep. That's why he's not a great lawyer immediately.
Yes. That didn't occur to me until watching it this time.
Yeah.
He finds coffee. David Mamet told the director that it's the best American comedy ever written.
Wow.
Dave.
Dave,
should we change the SAS hottest take to the David Mamet hottest take?
Settle down, juice, Dave. Macchio tells the story. There was an oral history about this movie. He told this story about talking to Francis Ford Coppola. They were doing something for The Outsiders. And he said, we concurred that what defines a great movie is time. Very few people can rattle off what won the Oscar the last 2 years. But we've talked about Apocalypse Now, The Godfather, On the Waterfront, West Side Story, Rocky. You know them instantly. My Cousin Vinny is like one of those movies. It was successful when it came out, but it wasn't like stop what you're doing and go see this movie. You're going to be quoting it for the next 30 years. And he says the only thing that does that to a movie is time. It's kind of the point of this podcast.
Yeah.
You just kind of never know. Like, this is the end. I wouldn't have guessed 5 years ago it was going to be a rewatchable, but it just kind of started to age nicely. And you smell the bouquet of the movie. Like, oh, yeah. I just didn't realize that fruit was in there. Oh.
This is how I'm feeling about 21 Bridges. Yeah.
Oh, you think?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right. And Triple Frontier, what was the other one?
Sure. Triple Frontier, yeah.
I think you're not wrong.
See?
I
but
can
you
watch
agree with that
with
this? You agree with that theory about sometimes time is the movie's best friend?
Well, you know, what's funny is I don't think I've seen this movie in its entirety since it came out.
This goes back to the original like kind of like conception of the pod of like you were kind of watching these movies out of order because you would watch 30 minutes here, you'd catch the last half hour, and this is the ultimate. Oh, hey, hold on. Like Joe Pesci's about to do.
Yeah, he's getting his shit together.
He's got the last couple of witnesses here. Like, what? Let's watch him do the measuring tape. That's what this movie is to me for sure.
Well, the other thing. Well, I mean, also it's her lines, right? It's Fred Gwynne and Marisa Tomei, and like just Fred Gwynne's reactions to Jesse Pesci, to Joe Pesci, and Marisa Tomei's. You know, she's the most quotable person in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like the biological clock where she's stamping on the porch.
I use just the right amount of torque. Yeah.
You're right. Or like, you blend, that sort of stuff. Like, it's so quotable. And anytime the movie is on and she's there, I would stop.
Yeah, let's talk about her because she wins the Oscar for this. It doesn't end up doing a lot for her. Because like this is what she did after this movie. Equinox, she's in Chaplin, Untamed Heart.
But those were attempts to make her a star.
I liked Untamed Heart.
Untamed Heart was
Christian Slater.
It did all right.
Good Pittsburgh movie.
Yeah.
The Paper, Only You, The Perez Family, 4 Rooms.
Yeah.
Unhook the Stars. And by 96, it's like she blew the moment. She won the Oscar.
But Bill, there's a couple things. Number one.
Yeah, do your thing.
I don't know if anybody remember. Well, we all remember. She was nominated. Her competition that year was I Think I Can Do This, Vanessa Redgrave,
Howard's End.
For Howard's End, Miranda Richardson for Damage.
Yep. Judy Davis, Husbands and Wives.
Judy Davis, Husbands and Wives, and another British person.
I feel like I'm watching Otani bat right now.
Yeah, this is good.
And,
Joan Plowright for Enchanted April.
Joan Plowright for her. So it's 4 British ladies and Marisa Tomei. The people missing from this category include Alfre Woodard for Passion Fish and Helena Bonham Carter for Howard's End. Wrong person from Howard's End, with all due respect to the great Vanessa Redgrave. With Alfre Woodard and Helena Bonham Carter out of the running, you've got these 4 British ladies. I think.
By the way, Rosie Perez also missing for White Men Can Joe.
Oh,
that was another snub one.
They would make it up the next year, but that's
movie for Chris.
That's a good. That's
Put Chris through puberty. Put like 10 chest hairs on
Rosie
his chest.
should have been nominated for that movie. And I think they canceled each other out. I also think if you watched this movie, because the reason she's nominated is because there was just this momentum. The movie was a hit. And I think if you watched this movie, that courtroom scene is just a tour de force.
It's amazing. The two of them are incredible, but she's
one of those,
amazing.
you want to say, this is ridiculous. I can't believe she won the Oscar. And then you watch this movie again, you're like, she's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Give her the Oscar.
And okay, I'm saying that.
Can I give you one more snub?
Okay.
Roxy from Basic Instinct.
Just for the nightclub scene?
Lights out.
Yeah.
Naked Michael Douglas just strolling around, the scrotum bouncing around. She's just nonplussed.
So I was nonplussed.
Everyone was nonplussed. Anyway, so that was one piece, but then the other piece is the bigger piece.
The other piece is I don't exactly know what happens, but if you watch Jack Palance, there's so they announced the 5 names. Jack Palance, last year supporting actor winner for City Slickers. This was also a time when people were winning for hit movies.
Yep.
Whoopi Goldberg for Ghost, Jack Palance for City Slickers, then Marisa Tomei.
And in previous Oscars, does the push-ups.
He does the push-ups.
Billy Crystal, it's the height of Billy Crystal.
Right.
The Oscars really mattered in the early 90s.
This was a thing that everybody watched. And so everybody's watching these Oscars, and it just seems like, did he say the right name?
Right.
Did he mean to say some other name and said Marisa Tomei?
Did he mean Miranda Richardson?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or did he do it, just said, fuck it, I'm just going to say the wrong name because I'm Jack Palance?
I just want to pick the person that I find the prettiest or something.
Yeah.
But there was this cloud over her win. And I think that cloud, for, unfairly and somewhat ridiculously, if you think about it, followed her for at least a few years.
But then part of that cloud was people going, well, that would never actually happen. And then it fucking happened 25 years later.
Right.
With the Moonlight La La Land disaster. Yeah. Do you think it happened, CR?
No, I think that was a legitimate win. I think
that's a legitimate win.
It's like what Wesley's saying is like, it was just a time when they were just like, they were also like, they had their eyes open to comedies maybe a little bit more, obviously, with City Slickers. And they were just rewarding comic box office smash performances in a way that they just completely turned their back on. And then we stopped making those movies anyway.
You're not going to be surprised to know Conspiracy Bill has been on this for a while.
Okay.
Especially when YouTube came into our lives in the mid-2000s and the Oscars started popping up there. It's like, all right, let me really check this out once and for all. I believe the David Stern thing the frozen envelope way more than the Jack Palance. Like I would say like 90% on the David Stern freezing the Knicks envelope side. I'm like 10%.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it could be ruled out that Jack Palance was like, fuck it, I'm Jack Palance. Just gonna say a different name.
Right. And then they're like, nobody's gonna like confront him on this.
Right.
Yeah.
But she really is that good.
She is that good. And the thing that's heartening about this, if we're going to stay on Marisa Tomei for a second, is
please.
It's not as if, I mean, this is a person who got 2 more Academy Award nominations.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think has been vindicated since that win, right? Because usually winning that award is a curse. It's just for a lot of people, they never work again.
Yeah.
The careers they never take off.
Pretty fearless actor.
Yeah.
She was in that Philip Seymour Hoffman movie that starts with like a pretty rowdy sex scene.
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Everybody in that movie should have been nominated for something.
Yeah.
And the wrestler, she's really good. She's good at playing. I liked Untamed Heart.
Oh yeah,
not the greatest movie, but she's good at playing these like kind of damaged woman with a heart of gold kind of performances, and she even taps into that. And this one, it's like,
there's
why
just
are
a
you
bunch
with
of
Joe
movies
Pesci?
where I think she does a bunch of movies that you're like in different circumstances. She's in some. What's the rom-com she's in with Robert Downey?
Only You,
Yeah.
which originally was called Him, and it was a lot more interesting. I remember this because I was all in a Marisa Tomei, and I think it was originally called Him. And she was I want to know if she was the bigger star, but they were kind of equal in some way. And then it was made cute in a way that just kind of ruined the movie and compromised it. But it was a little bit more desperate and a little darker.
Yeah.
And then it just got polished up and turned into a fairy tale, basically.
You know what her most famous thing probably was? The Seinfeld episode.
At the time,
Yeah. There's probably like 50 million people
she's
saw
probably
that.
now at this point best known for Spider-Man.
Yeah. Wow.
It's upsetting that she wasn't in The Sopranos.
Well,
I feel like she could have nailed the Annabella Sciorra part, who's also great in The
she's
Sopranos.
great.
So
Yeah.
I'm not
great.
no fault to her, but I wish they had written her into that. I also feel like Debbie Mazar's career seemed to be like a Marisa Tomei impersonation, especially in Entourage. She just seems like she's doing My Cousin Vinny. And then in our movie, Kicking and Screaming, or go Carabuno with Carabono with what's our guy's name? Chris Agamon.
Yeah.
Oh,
and she's the girlfriend, and she's basically the My Cousin Vinny lady.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a lot of people tapped into this performance for their own benefits.
The one that I wish, this comes a little bit before My Cousin Vinny, I think, is I think she would have been a great Sofia Coppola for Godfather 3.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
That's 1990.
Oh,
so
CR.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't know.
She would have been old enough.
Yeah. She would have been
old enough.
Yeah.
You know who else would have been a great Sofia Coppola in Godfather 3? Anybody else. All other actresses.
Yeah, that's a good one, Chris.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I mean, the thing about Marisa Tomei is we could sit here all day and recast her we could recast movies with her all day long. Backdraft.
Yep. Oh,
Like,
shit.
She could have played all the Rebecca De Mornay,
The Jennifer Jason Leigh part. Yeah.
I mean,
Do you think she could have done,
Have you scouted?
why are you so interested in what I say and what I do, lady?
But she could have been Amy Brenneman.
She could have.
yeah.
Have you scouted Backdraft at all recently?
I watched
it's
it a
a
couple
mess.
months ago.
I like that era, though, of just let's throw a bunch of people in a movie with a good director
And give them a job.
We care more about the trailer than the actual
it's
movie.
like The Paper. It's like,
Yeah.
Ron Howard was good at those movies.
blockbuster dramas. And Marisa Tomei is in that.
She's great in The Paper.
She's
but she's
really
pregnant.
good
And
in The
she's just
Paper.
basically like, I'm hot and pregnant for like 4 scenes.
She's doing My Cousin. She's been asked to do a version of My Cousin Vinny.
I do wonder with certain people who are as distinct as her, from an ethnic bent, like whether you just get pigeonholed. Because I do feel like that happened with Rosie Perez a little bit too.
Yeah.
Where people you can't unsee the defining character. And that happened with Rosie with White Men Can't Jump. But definitely Marisa, like the My Cousin Vinny thing seemed to linger over her for a while. And then she got older. And then she's in The Wrestler. She's in that Hoffman movie. And it kind of went away.
That her and In the Bedroom, she's got that great scene in the bedroom.
Oh, right.
Where Sissy Spacek walks up to her and slaps the shit out of her.
Yeah.
And she stands there and her reaction to being slapped like that is what gets her that Oscar nomination. And she just is really good with her lights turned down real low.
I gotta say, one Oscar and 2 other nominations, like not bad. Who's the lady that drives me crazy that she has 6?
What's that?
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
She's no Amy Adams. But
who's the lady who drives me crazy who has 6?
I know.
Well, just 6 seems excessive for the Amy Adams career. But
oh my God, we can't even do this right now. I mean, Amy Adams.
You want to go?
Is my Marisa Tomei part 2.
You want to go after you told me you like Contact yesterday when we were doing A Time to Kill? You want to fight again?
I don't want to fight about liking Contact,
Wesley,
but I will.
Wesley likes Contact.
I like Contact's entertaining.
Yeah, you guys are.
I don't like him in Contact, but I like the movie. But the thing about Marisa Tomei, the thing that sort of when you're thinking about her as an Italian actress, right, an Italian American actress, I think there was that weird moment in the 90s where anybody who was Mediterranean in any way played anybody else Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of Italians playing Spaniards, a lot of like British, Alfred Molina playing everybody.
That's right.
You don't even have to be Mediterranean. You can just be, in some way Arab, Maori. It doesn't matter. But if there's a need for the Saudi Arabian terrorist or a Spanish emperor,
you could do Antonio Banderas for all of those things.
You could do right. You could cast somebody in all those parts, and Marisa Tomei was one of those people too.
Well,
and
all right. So why was she in a Spike movie?
No.
Did she never do a Spike movie?
No. So she's not in. Well, think of the movie she's not in. She's not in Goodfellas. She missed The Sopranos.
Never did a Spike Lee movie.
And no Spike, even though she's a Brooklyn person.
She could have easily killed in a Spike Lee movie. But again,
did Annabelle Sciorra market correct her a tiny bit there for like 2 years?
Maybe. But that was, but the height of Annabelle Sciorra was before
My Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
So I think actually Marisa Tomei might have, she and Annabelle Sciorra might have been in, how limited the thinking is in this industry. Like they might have been competing for the same parts and canceling each other out.
All right. Joe Pesci, the most improbable A-list movie star I think we've had in my lifetime. From 89 to 95, rips off Lethal Weapon, Goodfellas, Home Alone, JFK, My Cousin Vinny, Home Alone 2, and Casino, but also was in The Super, and he had a cameo in The Bronx Tale, Jimmy Hollywood with honors. Within 7 years, I mean, that's almost like a Rewatchables Hall of Fame roster, and then retires from acting 3 years later.
It's like we all collectively had like a Joe Pesci drug binge. And for 7 years, we were just like, him.
And,
that's box office, baby.
During that period, he wins an Oscar. And I think obviously he's a holdover from that 70s prioritization of people who just look like people becoming movie stars, right? Who are also very good actors.
Yeah.
But he seemed like comic relief sidekick guy. And that was like when his career takes off in 89 with Lethal Weapon 2. Yeah. It was kind of like, yeah, we know this
Have
is
we
a
done
sequel.
Lethal Weapon 2 on the pod?
Yeah, we did it.
So we've done all these movies now on the Rewatchables.
Yeah.
All of Joe Pesci's? Yeah.
Including JFK.
Yeah.
But he's like comic relief sidekick guy. I never thought he was going to be leading man guy, but then this is leading man movie guy.
Yeah.
But basically the leading man as the sidekick as leading man, right?
Right.
Because there's a version of this movie where it's just about Ralph Macchio and the other guy.
Sure.
That's a rough movie.
It's Shawshank.
But somebody knew that, right? Because you get no scenes. And once the two of them show up in town, like you really never see them again except for at the trial and when they talk to each other about how bad a lawyer
Once they drop the public defender, especially.
Right.
They're just like, yeah.
It's the right amount, right usage rate for those guys. So explain Pesci to us. What happened?
You mean how did the good stuff happen?
How do I explain this to my son that this guy was one of the biggest stars we had for 7 years?
Because we made comedies.
Mm-hmm.
We used to make comedies with really low stakes, and he is a guy who would just go for it. And I don't know what Scorsese or Oliver Stone would say about how intense he is as an actor, but like if you think about what he's doing in JFK, that really weird part, what's his name? David Ferris?
Yeah.
David
Ferry.
Yeah.
And
Don't get JFK stuff wrong around Chris. It's just a terrible idea.
Sorry. But, his eyebrows, that wig.
Yeah.
It just, he will do anything you ask him to do. Like the sort of weird, like self-accepting gay stuff that character was acting and embodying. With honors, he's a homeless guy in Harvard Square. It's and you just, even when you don't believe
Still can't believe that movie happened.
Even when you don't believe him, or when he's like ostensibly bad as he is in JFK, the willingness to go as far out as he needs to work somehow that's a winning thing. Home Alone does not work if he does not believe.
Yeah. If you're not like, this guy's terrifying.
Right.
They made enough movies back then so that guys could play against type. So that they could have a type and then they could make movies that played with that type. This is really all we have now is you can either be a hero or you can be a villain once we've decided. Like if Chris Evans was like, I'll play the Joker now or something like that, you'd be like, oh wow, I guess like, well, he was Captain America, that's pretty weird. And but it's not an interesting thought exercise.
Right, no.
Well, it's an interesting thought exercise is, what if Edward G. Robinson was also Buster Keaton? Like what if this guy who is like the scariest gangster was also like a huge physically gifted comedian who was willing to fall in mud? You know, like, and that's what he does in this movie is it's like all the Goodfellas stuff is in there. Everything you think about this guy when he gets out and gets out of a Cadillac or whatever he's driving, and you're just like, in Goodfellas, then he goes up to somebody and starts kicking their face in. Yeah. But in this, he falls in the mud. And then he puts on a circus performer suit. Like everything is playing against type.
Yeah, when he walks into the courtroom and he's wearing the thrift store, ringmaster suit.
Yeah.
He is so mad that he has to wear it, but what he's acting is the confidence of a person who knows he looks like an idiot, does not want to get into it, but these are the clothes that you basically have forced me to wear because this town is just muddy as shit.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of like resignation, anger, and a willingness to, at this point in the movie, get down to business and get this trial over with.
Yeah.
That
I was even thinking about like the idea of a guy like Joe Pesci, who I'm fairly certain in most of the movies where he wants to be taken seriously is wearing a wig. In JFK, the whole thing is he's wearing a bad wig. Like that takes a lot of like, you have to have the capacity for self-deprecation that's pretty huge there.
Yeah, I had this in probably unanswerable questions, but we can do it now. Is he the greatest wig actor we've ever had?
He's the greatest wig actor.
I have no idea what his hair actually looks like.
Yeah, I mean, because, is there a moment in
Is the Irishman he have?
I was about to ask. I think there's a moment in The Irishman where
when
he
he's
doesn't
dying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, even like the acknowledgement that what we had previously been seeing is this other thing, right?
Like Joe Pesci, bald, not bald?
Definitely bald.
Yeah, bald.
Gotta be mostly bald, right?
You can see in My Cousin Vinny the way the hairline works on this particular hairpiece.
Yeah, it's actually.
But I gotta say, I'm sure many people have watched this movie over the 31 years we've had it and have thought like, what is she doing with him?
Yeah. Well, there's an age difference that in the research they were really careful about, makeup and lighting so it wasn't obvious that he was twice the age.
What was the age difference?
Excessive.
Really?
I have it in the research.
What was he, 40 something?
She was like 24 and he was like 48, 49.
All right. Well, that's not insignificant. But I think he's kind of sexy in this part. I'm not. Listen,
wow, Wesley.
You just got to take my word for it.
I've learned to keep my guard up with you, but this even for you is really strange.
He's kind of sexy in this movie.
Well, has any short actor, Pesci's 5'3", been able to A, be as big of a star, but then B, also pull off like menacing scenes?
Not since the 30s, right?
Goes that pool hall,
yeah.
And he's like going to be like, you $200 or I'll kick your ass. And that whole thing, and you're like, this guy's a foot taller than him, but I'm kind of thinking like, hey, Joe Pesci might be able to take him.
He could do it.
Yeah.
He could do it.
Something about the way he carried himself worked.
Who are the
shortest?
It's street smart.
Who are the shortest big actors ever?
Robinson, Cagney, Keaton, Chaplin.
You're going back
Cruise.
like 90 years.
Well,
Cruise like 5'6".
Yeah. But we can't. But
But they stand at
we'll never know,
now. Yeah,
right? There's all this lying about. I mean, I think the thing that's so refreshing about Pesci is even the thing that he seems to be the most self-conscious about is so obviously false.
Yeah.
That you kind of just go with that part of the construction too. And so this is clearly a person who knows himself and understands that there's a kind of ridiculousness to being seen by masses of people that, we had a whole conversation yesterday about McConaughey and the hair and the idea that the reason one of the reasons probably that he didn't have an even more nutso career in terms of the roles and the box office, etc., was
he was losing his hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Pesci knows that's probably not going to help him.
Right, because he's also so short.
Right. He's short and bald. No.
Right.
And so I think, think about Ed Harris, right? Totally different actor, trained in a probably very different way.
Sure.
But what if Ed Harris just basically did every role in a hairpiece?
He does a lot of them in a hairpiece, and it's always pretty distracting.
But at his peak, when he was like in the 80s and early 90s.
When he's in The Firm.
Right.
Full bald.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that the only
Great
parts
bald
for bald guys during that period was villain.
Yeah.
So one thing with this movie, it snuck up on everybody, including the studio, 20th Century Fox, who had loaded up on Alien 3 and White Men Can't Jump. And you had Wayne's World was out, Basic Instinct was about to blow up. And this movie just kind of waltzes in, seeming like
people
it's
had choices.
Yeah, a possible TV movie. And people are like, what's this? And it does really well. It ends up making $11 million budget, made $64 million. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And then goes on for like decades after
Our
that.
guy, Raj, he says, 2.5 stars. My Cousin Vinny is a movie that meanders along going nowhere in particular, and then lightning strikes. It's the kind of movie home video is invented for. Not worth the trip to the theater, but slam it into the VCR and you get your rental's worth. That feels like he wrote that after the movie came out, but he's right. This became a great rental / TNT, HBO.
I can imagine if you watch this movie blind, that first 70% of the movie, you're just like, what am I watching? Like, is this guy going to pull it together? Like, because it does have a very easygoing pace to it.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the last 30 and you're just like, oh, that's why I watched it.
Most rewatchable scenes, the police confession confusion with Macchio. It's fun. Wait, this is a comedy. Obviously, at some point, they're going to have to tell him what he's in jail for. They don't. But it's still kind of funny that they're having two separate conversations.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Macchio's being charged with murder. Same thing with Pesci when he goes to the cell, and it's...
he meets Stan.
And who thinks it's a prison rape negotiation?
You're just here to jerk me off.
Right. Again, like... It works in some way because Pesci's acting the joke.
Yeah, he's almost in an SNL sketch. In that.
Right?
And he keeps making him sit down.
There's a way in which, like, if there weren't a joke and the other guy was like, okay, I'll jerk you off, Pesci'd be like, let's go. Do it.
That's the director's cut. Stan's just like, let's go. Whatever it takes.
I have collecting the 200.
Yeah.
I like when he goes, oh, a counter offer.
Yes.
That whole thing. The Vinny fighting to keep the case and Macchio convincing his buddy to keep him on. That whole stretch is pretty good. I like the pre and post deer hunting scene for Marisa Tomei.
Yeah.
It's called disclosure. disclosure, you dickhead.
That is a great line.
Just everything she's doing on both sides of that is really good.
When he comes back to the hotel room or whatever, and she's sitting in the chair reading the law book,
right?
I was like, okay,
what a girlfriend.
This has to go somewhere. I remember thinking that as a kid. This scene has to go somewhere.
And then we have the 3 on the stand scenes, the 2 Utes and the grits.
Mm-hmm. Grits.
Chris, do you like your grits regular, creamy, or
al dente? Yeah.
What are you?
I think I like
I'm
them
a
al
creamy
dente.
guy.
Oh, you're
I'm a
creamy? I
guy,
figured because of your Italian heritage, you know?
All of that, when he starts dialing it up, the movie really kicks in. Are we to believe that boiling water soaks into a grit faster in your kitchen than on any place on the face of the earth?
All the jurors are just
They're
like,
mm-hmm. I mean, but that's the great thing. So, okay, this is a culture clash movie, right? Initially, right? It's about some New Yorkers who go to Alabama and they don't know how it works. And these Alabamans are like, who the hell are these people?
Right.
And the grits, somebody realized that the grits are the cultural unifying factor here. Like he doesn't understand it's polenta, but at some point he basically figures out we eat grits too. We Italians.
They set it up with the breakfast scene.
Yeah. It's set up with the breakfast scene.
They do a great job.
And he also does a good job
moment. Just as like a lawyer, getting the guy to say how he likes his grits, which then establishes, that takes 15 minutes to make it that way. And then he can hang him on it. It's just really smart. It's really good. And he's really good in that scene.
And watching I don't know if you've been in these courtroom movies, if you've been watching the juries respond to the person doing the stuff, either the lawyer or the person on the stand.
Yeah.
But it's been really pleasurable watching the actors playing the jury in these movies.
Yeah.
And there's a black woman on the far right.
Nods.
She's
great.
Really into both the grits and Marisa Tomei's, the part we're going to get to later. But this woman is doing the most as juror number whatever.
Would you have been a juror number whatever in a movie, CR?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah.
You'd have been good, right?
Yeah.
Just like student.
Sometimes I zone out. I'd be worried for I'd be like, oh, I missed that hour. I was thinking about the Sixers.
I was in a jury for 3 days in the late 90s. And
3 days.
And I wrote an entire column, pretended I was taking notes, and I just wrote like an NBA column. Longhand.
How bad was the case?
It was pretty boring for the most part.
Okay, but it wasn't like you were in charge of a guy's life, right?
No.
Okay.
That you remember.
I'm sure he's fine.
He's fine. He's out of jail now. The thicker glasses.
Some guy's like, I'm coming for you, Simmons.
I knew that guy's face. The thicker glasses scene with the tape measure, just good theater. And then my winner would be Mona Lisa on the stand.
Yeah.
Just great stuff.
It's when you watch it, if you watch it with the sound off, and you watch that, the basically him addressing her.
I've seen people watch this on the plane.
It looks like a dance sequence.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he dances up to her. He dances back. Mm-hmm. He hops up on the table. He was like, I would love, it's everything about it is so beautifully choreographed. And she's so great. It almost looks like a silent movie. She turns away from him and then she sort of warms up. It's fantastic.
Well, ultimately, the reason I think this movie is so beloved is the two of them just had awesome chemistry.
Yeah.
Every scene they're in, it's fucking
work
fantastic.
Together. And you never question why they're together, right?
No.
I don't know how they met, but I'm always glad they did.
Do you have a ball busting couple in your life like this? It's part of their charm is how they kind of go at each other, but it's never too bad.
I feel like this has been kind of weirdly because now it's therapy is so widely accepted and couples therapy is I don't feel like I know a lot of couples who show up to the restaurant this fucking guy is driving me crazy tonight. And it's if it did, it would be kind of funny for 5 minutes and then it would be this is an expensive dinner. Can we talk about the bear or something?
I have a couple of those in my life.
Yeah.
And do you never know.
Is it me and my wife? Are we one of the couples?
No, you guys have a different thing. No,
thanks,
it's
Wesley.
not.
That's
it's not
nice.
that. That's not it. But it also doesn't mean that the people don't love each other. Although there are these moments where they have brought something outside of this dinner into this dinner. whether it's in a restaurant or like, at somebody's house, something between them has entered and it needs adjudication, right? And
there's like Sean and his wife. She's like, fucking last night just watched 4 Mel Brooks movies in a row for no reason. Just to like help his letterbox.
Didn't ask me if I wanted to watch.
What's age the best? They say the title in the movie. I love nothing more. That should just be a category.
Yep.
I like when they say beans make you fart and the guy goes, we got a convertible. Just that's my kind of humor. At one point, it sounds like they say Joey Gallo, but it's Joey Callow. But I was thinking how then we had a Joey Gallo, the baseball player.
Sure.
It's kind of fun. The Bruce McGill said, Bruce McGill, who's ineligible for the That Guy Award.
No.
I think people
but maybe the all-time That Guy of the
Yeah, he's in like, he graduated with Joe Penn and Leano, a couple others. Oh, he said, My Cousin Vinny, quote, gets rerun more than anything I've done except maybe Animal House. My wife and I saw it on a flight recently. I was hysterical. The flight attendants were standing behind and watched me watch myself and laugh. you do you, Bruce. And then another What's Age the Best. I forgot about this. Deflategate. As the whole thing's going on, they're asking Belichick about the PSI, and he said, I don't claim to be the Mona Lisa Vito of inflation.
Oh, yeah. That's got to be it.
Yeah.
Totally forgot
that.
Incredible What's Age the Best. Belichick.
Yeah.
Huge fan of this movie, apparently.
I honestly think that if Belichick had done only one pod with you, it should have been this one.
My Cousin Vinny?
Yeah, My Cousin Vinny.
Well, he just would have broke down all the interrogations.
He just would have no-sold you the entire time. You'd be like, Bill, what do you think of Pesci, 89 to 92? Just like, on to 93.
On to With Honors. Any What's Age the Best for you?
I just think that the screenwriting trick of everybody underestimates each other until they find common ground is like a very satisfying and heartwarming thing to watch.
You're going to put that in your AI file when you're writing scripts? Help from Al?
ChatGPT, write me a screenplay where everybody underestimates each other. Yeah.
You have anything, Wesley?
Marisa Tomei's clothes.
Oh, good one.
I don't remember when this show starts, but the thing that came to mind watching it a couple days ago was The Nanny. Oh. Fran Drescher on The Nanny.
Oh, she's another one who ripped off this movie.
Now, if you don't remember, if you've never watched The Nanny, if you don't remember watching The Nanny, I will tell you, I'm watching The Nanny in its entirety.
Why? Because it's like her SAG role?
The Nanny is a year after this movie. So that's another...
Because I have a boyfriend who one day just put on the TV and just started watching it. This is like, if you knew this guy, you'd be like, this guy is just going to sit there and watch The Nanny. The Nanny could be one of those shows
that has like 22 seasons or 4. I don't even know.
It's got 6.
Okay.
But...
What's going on right now?
Wait, let me just tell you.
You can do a lot of things with streaming. It's really weird.
Because it's on HBO, it's on Max. And the thing that came to mind as I was watching it was 2 things. 3, actually. Thing number 1. One of the great Jewish shows ever put on TV. Very Jewish.
Okay.
Number 2. Fran Drescher. Basically doing Mona Lisa Vito.
Yeah.
And My Cousin Vinny. But in a different way, right? The writing is as good for her on that show. It's better for her on that show than it is for Marisa Tomei in this movie. And the third thing is the clothes are phenomenal. The outfit, the jumpsuit that Marisa Tomei wears on the porch where she's doing the My Biological Clock scene.
Yeah.
What is that? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
A couple shoulder pads outfits.
The shoulder pads. She's got this black suit with like purple trim and gold studs on it. The hair. But then there are these great moments where she doesn't have any makeup on. She doesn't appear to have any makeup on.
Like the hotel room and stuff.
And she's just like sitting around with wet hair and no makeup.
She looks great.
Just phenomenal. Just the clothes in this movie, I think, have aged the best. The styling, I guess, is the way to put it.
You know my friend Drescher thoughts, right?
No.
I think she's smoking. I always thought she was smoking hot.
She's so sexy on the...
She's so good looking.
Chris, I know you're cracking up right now because you think this shit is ridiculous.
Smoking hot. She's a
Fran
Drescher
is bomb.
I'm not gonna get mad at you because you and I have so much in common with actresses we love, but this is the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Bomb diggity. Two gay dudes sitting on a sofa saying to each other, Fran Drescher.
Sierra, there's more of us out there.
It's
you watch what happens to your
ever occurred to me.
You have to watch this. And the show knows
she's in Saturday Night Fever.
And
she plays like one of the people who loves Tony.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, Fran.
That's probably why it is for you then.
No,
she's hot in the nanny.
Chris. They know.
You look, I know I'm weird. I'm like Edie Falco in Copland is the hottest thing I've ever seen. So I'm not saying I'm cool.
You just brought this up yesterday.
I did. Well, we were talking about Sandra Bullock trying to smoke in A Time to Kill.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't go great.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Fran Drescher.
When they're holding a cigarette like this.
They should have made a movie with Sandra Bullock in A Time to Kill and Laura Linney in Primal Fear. And they're just like, each of them are two-handed.
And Cruz is somehow holding a pack.
I'm not letting you escape this Fran Drescher moment. Because
it's not a moment. There's more of us out there. It's not just me. She was great looking.
Also funny. I mean, the reason that it was easy to rip off Marisa Tomei for a lot of these writers and actors was there's a whole world of so-called ethnics out there who have great comic timing, are really sexy, and know what to do with a part that lets them be some version of themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Fran Drescher, I mean, she's not a great actor, but she's a great comedian. And she knows how to use the irony of the brain that you don't think she has with this body in those clothes. And it's just, yes. If Marisa Tomei, if My Cousin Vinny had ever been a TV show.
Trying to find a good picture for CR.
It would have been the name.
I've seen Fran Drescher before.
I don't think you've seen her the way she should be seen.
I don't know. It just, you watch this show and you can't believe how sexy she is. And funny.
Okay, let's move on to the Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness Award for Best Noodle Drop. The opening credits.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, the Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Yeah, whatever's going on. The Big Kahuna Burger Award, Best Use of Food and Drink. Clearly the breakfast one.
It's
yes.
But breakfast.
Breakfast.
Right, yeah.
1, breakfast. 2, lunch. 3,
we'll try breakfast.
Dinner. Eggs, bacon, and grits. What'd you have for the Den of Thieves Benihana Award for scene stealing location?
I had the Courtroom.
Yeah.
Also seems to be the place where the entire town goes. One of the things that was a little bit of a picking nit for me was
the pool hall.
Did anything else happen in this town during the trial? Because the entirety of the town seems to be there.
Well, it's a little Groundhog Day-ish,
like,
right?
I was going to say Groundhog Day is a thing that came out for me watching this too. I also want to say that, one of the things about Courtroom Month is that race is an element in most of these movies, right? I don't remember Primal Fear, and I know Alfre Woodard's in it. Is she in it?
Yeah, she's the judge.
Yeah. Right. Okay, black judge. Like the way that race functions in this world of the Courtroom movie is really fascinating to me because it's true for everything that we're talking about this month. And I think in this movie, the thing that kind of warmed my heart was that you're in like middle of nowhere, Alabama, Wazoo, Alabama. And it is a like warmly integrated community. Yeah. There is no ostensible the racial tension is Italians. Is between the Italians and everybody else.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to Kiefer Sutherland like in Row 2? The mean look on his face.
I have 2 books next to my bed.
The Great Shot Gorder Award, most cinematic shot. What'd you have for this?
I didn't really have one.
I didn't have one either.
Yeah,
I don't think this is the most cinematic.
I guess
movie.
like there's a shot of James Rebhorn that's supposed to be out of like Hitchcock or something where it's like a Dutch angle, but
it's not.
The Butch's Girlfriend Award for the weak link of the film. The murder charge is the weak link of the film.
Yeah.
Yes. There's no way in the world.
This kid's confessing to something that they didn't even tell him what it was, and now we're just in a murder trial.
They like there could have been.
It's a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a leap of faith.
And yet, didn't you say at some point that the legal community loves this movie?
I think
they love the trial stuff.
They love the trial stuff actually is apparently because I think Jonathan Lynn used to be a lawyer and made sure that all the stuff was like was pretty tight.
What's age the worst? Would you start with Ralph Macchio's mustache or Ralph Macchio playing basketball? If you had to go with one.
Yeah, well, I was wondering who you felt like Macchio's comps were.
But with basketball?
As a player, yeah.
He seemed really intent when he dribbled, which is usually a bad sign.
Kind of a Scott Skiles.
Not kind of sure what his shot was.
Yeah. He's looking to set up other guys. So maybe that was the problem in prison, that there wasn't a lot of team basketball going on.
He reminded me of when like a Taco Fall type, the 7'6" guy that's kind of learning how to shoot. I probably would have not had the basketball scene, but the mustache is just egregious.
For the mustache.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
I also think their uniforms, like, are they in prison?
They're prison uniforms,
or Greece? Like, there are racing stripes on the sides of the uniforms.
They're adorable. Yeah.
What's happening?
So this is a What's Age the Worst just from an impact standpoint. When this movie came out, Herman Munster was the judge.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's Fred Gwynne, and it's a famous Fred Gwynne part. But in 1992, it's like, Herman Munster's the fucking judge?
Yeah,
like,
because the Munsters were still on TV almost every day.
And he got typecast by that. Mitchell Whitfield plays Stan, who also played Dr. Barry on Friends, who Rachel left at the altar.
Totally forgot about this.
I might have auditioned a few more actors.
They did.
Well, you're excited for the casting. What if Wesley doesn't know that one? He's going to go nuts.
I don't know.
He's going to walk out and come back and do the rest of the
Can't wait for that. Stuttering public defender guy. There's this weird...
brutal.
Well, and the actor who played him,
Austin Pendleton.
Yeah.
The great Austin Pendleton.
Who said in 2022 he felt the role nearly ended his career, and he received angry letters from the stuttering community. He regrets being in it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Way more info. This is a fucking dumb comedy.
You really didn't
You didn't need that entire.
You didn't need it.
You almost didn't need that whole part of the movie.
No.
If you're looking at ways to cut down to maybe the 140 range.
Yeah, you don't need to switch lawyers halfway through. Just to that's the guy that sort of makes Stan realize that he's made a mistake.
Right.
And should have stayed with Pesci the whole time.
They said in the stuff about the behind the scenes of the movie that they're like dying during those scenes.
Yeah.
In the back, you can kind of see them laughing. Macchio
With Austin.
Pesci.
I mean, the build up to it, when you're just like, wow, this guy's going to kick some ass. What's going to happen here? And he's like, walks up and then it's like, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's terrible. But also as comedy, right? Like if I don't know how you don't think about what stuttering is, but if you think about, they could have found some other device.
Yeah.
That wasn't stuttering.
Yeah, he could have had like a high pitched voice.
Anything.
Yeah.
Because you don't expect whatever it is he's going to do to happen. But it's just playing that for comedy is low.
One more What's Age the Worst for you guys. Well, do you have any, Chris?
I do.
What do you got?
It's a bittersweet What's Age the Worst, but the guy who wrote this movie, Dale Launer, had like a little bit of a cottage industry of adult comedies.
Yeah.
Of like Blind Date, Ruthless People, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
He wrote all those?
Yeah. And it's like, it was just that's just a movie we do not make at all anymore, pretty much.
Wow.
I mean, like...
Yeah, Ruthless People
Ruthless
would just be like a pilot on Showtime now.
Dark-tinged, fucked up, but also pretty palatable, enjoyable popcorn movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Blind Date.
Yeah.
Ugh. Would never happen.
He wrote The Idol with The Weeknd. No, he actually did.
But yeah, like this guy, like that kind of like...
Oh, man.
This is this reliable date movie that's also a little fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another What's Age the Worst. Bruce McGill comes in pretty hot in the oral history. He says Joe Pesci pretty much monopolized Marissa's time off set. She wasn't going out to dinner with the rest of us, nor was Joe. He just lived the relationship they had in the film, took a lot of time with her. Joe may not tell this to any interviewer, but it was a Svengali relationship. He felt responsible for how good she was and not without reason.
Oh,
a little too much information.
McGill.
But then a little bit later, he comes in hotter on Pesci. He was very hard on Jonathan Lynn, the director, which I thought was just terribly unfair. I was privately a little embarrassed at some of the exchanges. And he said one day Joe stormed off the courtroom set. Something happened. Jonathan laughed. Joe just turned and said, "What, do you think I'm here to entertain you?" And threw a bit of a hissy fit.
Little Goodfellas.
He said, "Find something else to shoot. I'm leaving." And he actually walked off the set.
Oh, wow.
Bruce, keep that under wraps, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about angry Joe Pesci. So obviously they didn't end up staying in touch.
That's
They're not
business.
in a fantasy football league together
I
from the
don't
My
think
Cousin
so.
Vinny shooting.
I also would like to say, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I'm on the fence about whether it's Age the Worst or the best.
Okay.
Pesci's Ewings. He's wearing Ewings.
Oh, that's right.
For the whole movie. Big, blocky, white Patrick Ewings.
I would say that's aged the worst because those were pretty bad even in the early 90s.
They look good now, though. And they're great for a short person. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, interesting.
Great short person.
Big heels?
As a short person, great short person.
Like a blocky platform almost. Yeah.
And, he was doing this at a time when it's supposed to make him seem more Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But it also just makes him look cool. He's got cowboy boots and Ewings. Those are his two pieces of footwear in this movie. So there's
Ron Burgundy flew to word. Best time for a pee break. I mean, this movie's 20 minutes too long. Probably when he's sleeping in the car with the owl. And, really, it's like, get us to the courtroom. Can we start? Doing the trial now?
Yes.
It's just it's a lot.
I think all of that padding about the sleeping, you only need it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
You
honestly could take all
4 scenes of it.
Was there a better title for this movie? I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I had 2 Utes, but I don't think that would have sung.
My Cousin Vinny's great. And they say in the movie, best quote, there's nothing to worry about until there's something to worry about. Solid. Or it's called disclosure, you dickhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here's my Stephen A. Smith hottest take award. Do you have one, CR?
The only one I had really was, I feel like Judge Holler wastes a lot of the city's time and money by putting him in contempt so many times.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, take him off the case or don't, but like, don't keep putting him in prison. It seems like, we've got a lot of problems in this country. Maybe stop like putting this guy in jail just because he gives you a little attitude.
I have a scorching hot take. I think this movie and movies like it are why people think they can defend themselves in court. And that this movie's actually done more harm than good.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I think there had to have been hundreds of people out there who are like, I just saw My Cousin Vinny.
He's a guy
I'll
from
just
Brooklyn.
defend
He likes
myself.
to argue. Yeah.
Vinny did it.
Yeah.
And it just went terrible every time.
How common is it that somebody tries to defend themselves?
I mean, Ted Bundy did it.
That worked out for him. Yeah.
It was great. You got the gas chamber.
This is an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, or an interesting thing to suppose. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Because you rarely see it it's usually played for comedy.
Yeah.
And it's rarely used.
You don't see them like presumed innocent. Casting what ifs.
Oh,
the studio originally wanted for Vinny, Andrew Dice Clay.
Okay. That's, I can see that.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out like he was bad or they couldn't, the timing.
Different kind of movie.
Yeah. The screenwriter said, I'm not sure how much of this I can say, but fuck it. Why not? The studio vice president had been dating Andrew Dice Clay's manager. The VP met Dice and he said something horrible to her. And she said to me, can we take him off the list? And I said, fuck it. That was it. And then he said, I think he would have been good in the movie. I don't think the movie does as well with Andrew Dice Clay is my take.
I worry about Marisa Tomei if Andrew Dice Clay is
that's
Vinny.
A weird vibe. Jim Belushi said that he regretted turning down the title role in this film. He's the only one who seems to think it was offered to him, but just mentioning it. They approached Lorraine Bracco and Carol Davis from Mona Lisa. They passed. And then here's the big one. This is from the casting director. We auditioned Will Smith for Rothenstein. His talent was evident.
Yep.
And Wesley's gone. He is left
Did you not
the
know
building.
this at all?
He's walking around the table.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
91 range.
How would that
Well, I think they
gone?
would have tweaked his ethnicity a little bit. I don't think he
I don't think
okay,
he's called
fine,
Steve
but, like,
Rothenstein.
Yeah.
He would have had 2 scenes.
Well,
he was
famous
only
yet.
in where the day takes
He
you
was
at this point.
Fresh Prince, and that's it.
I don't even the fresh bowl. Okay, this is 92. Okay, that's all right. Fine. I
Fundamentally, is this movie better if it's Will Smith instead of Barry from Friends?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
no. Wait a minute. But there's
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that
One
brings in
right.
this other
It's-
element.
there's
race,
a
yes.
whole.
Yeah.
It's a whole different movie, right? Because all right, Stan's obviously a Jew.
Yeah.
And you've got these Italians, and you're in the deep South.
Yeah.
But again, one of the things that makes the movie so pleasant is all of the stuff that the movies typically do when they get down there is like start a bunch of racial turmoil shit.
Yeah.
And this is the opposite of that. It is a perfectly sweetly integrated town.
Right.
And to have a black man immediately arrested for murder that he did not commit, it's just a whole other...
It would have been really funny, though, if it was colorblind and it was just Will Smith as this, like, Jewish guy. I don't want to do this.
So if you're keeping score at home, Wesley would rather have Barry from Friends over Will Smith in a movie.
Yes.
Just want to make sure
if it's this movie set where it's set and being what it's about.
The question is, what movie of Will Smith's does Barry from Friends get in the trade? So does he in Bad Boys with Martin Lawrence?
This is a great question.
6 Degrees of Separation.
Also doesn't work.
Yeah.
The Ruffalo Hannah Rubinek Partridge overacting award. The biological clock scene, she dials it up to about 190 miles an hour.
He's trying to match Marisa, yeah.
And a little murder case, which in the balance holds the line. It just like goes nuts. Best That Guy award, Bruce McGill not eligible. The headmaster from Son of a Woman also not eligible, right? James Redbourne. We've decided he's James Redbourne.
He's been in so much.
He's James Redbourne.
I was going to throw out Maury Chaykin.
Maury Chaykin's a good one. That's a good one.
Which one's that?
He's the guy who makes the grits. He's the one who's like, I took him too long.
I had Lane Smith.
Lane Smith? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of...
My guy from Bad News Bears and Breaking Training.
Yeah. I mean,
huge part in that.
Also, you don't realize until you see him next to Pesci what a substantially built person Lane Smith is.
He was around.
He could have been a pitcher or something.
Yeah, he was around for a while. Deanne Waiters Award, the diner chef.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that what's he in 2 scenes?
Yeah, I mean, just wonderful presence. Talk about non-plus. Like he really is just like you can take it or leave it. These are grits.
Recasting couch. So you're vetoing Will Smith.
You don't want that, My Cousin Vinny. You tell me, believe me, y'all don't want it.
Do you go second kind of 80s nostalgia guy and maybe do a little Corey Feldman?
As Bill?
As Stan Rothenstein?
As Stan?
Again, it's too much.
Is Downey available? Downey and a Bender? Can we grab him?
I think Downey at this point was a little big for My Cousin Vinny.
Too big.
Chaplin's not out yet. Downey's a mess.
He's less than zero. You know who this person is.
Will Wheaton wouldn't be bad.
Will Wheaton I could accept. Will Wheaton is that's a good one.
All right.
That's a good one.
River Phoenix, probably too.
What about the kid who played young Henry Hill? Whatever happened to him?
Young Henry Hill is probably too young.
And Goodfellas. Like that kid who's just, I don't know.
He was handsome too.
Half-assed internet research. The screenwriter Dale Launer came up with the idea after hearing about a lawyer who finally passed the bar after their 13th attempt. It was like, well, what would happen if he represented somebody? And it kind of kept going. And then he threw himself into the legal process. The rest was history. When Vinny is explaining his real name, Joe Pesci's character explaining his real name to the judge, he knocks over the chessboard. That was an accident, and they just kept it in the movie. I always like when that happened.
That's cool.
Didn't mean that. Macchio said he's often asked to sign cans of tuna.
Oh yeah, that's the other kind of sweet thing about this movie, right?
It's all hinges on like a 30-cent can of tuna.
He thinks that what this is all about is him accidentally stealing. Or,
I love
stealing
that
the can of tuna.
Like, you're paying for advertising.
Right.
Yeah.
We should put that on What Stage the Worst, that you could, when pennies were part of a price of something.
Yeah.
31 cents for a can of tuna.
Yeah.
That's gone.
I really that opening scene is so innocent in so many ways.
I enjoyed the opening scene. We should put that in most rewatchables. American Bar Association has a publication called the ABA Journal, where they rank this film number 3 on top 25 greatest.
What's
movies.
1 and 2? Do you know?
I didn't see the list.
Oh, we gotta find that. Fascinating.
The director had a law degree, and that's why he was so fanatical about everything. And then that's it.
There's one big one
else. What?
Which is that Joe Pesci made a lounge music album as Vinny.
Yes.
Oh, a few years
Vincent
later.
LaGuardia Gambini Sings for You. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they talked sequel for a while, and they couldn't.
I actually thought I had memory hold the sequel. I was like, they made a sequel to this, right?
Yeah.
And I kept looking it up, and there was a novelization. But
you would have thought it would have been like the Cruel Intentions 2 sequel that wasn't nobody from Cruel Intentions 1 was in it. It's like My Cousin Vinny's cousin, Randy.
I'm glad they didn't do it again.
Apex Mountain. Pesci.
This is the era.
It's right around here. Yeah, I don't know
Can
exactly.
an Apex Mountain be 3 years long?
This movie's succeeding. Probably this might be it.
Yeah.
Italians, no.
Marisa, yes.
Marisa, I would say yes.
What is the apex mountain for Italians?
Interesting.
It's in the early 2000s when The Sopranos is rising, but Godfather is having this whole nostalgia run.
Yeah. Okay.
It's great for us.
You don't think the actual mob?
Like the 50s?
Yeah, or maybe
like when the Italians took over Vegas?
JFK?
I mean...
Killing a president?
I wanted to see if you were there.
So 63?
Just want to wake you up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not been the same since 63.
Yeah.
Macchio, no. Marisa Tomei, yes. Bruce McGill, no.
What is Bruce McGill's apex mountain?
I don't know. What is it?
I mean, my favorite Bruce McGill is The Insider.
Yeah, I agree.
It's somewhere in the 90s. New Jersey, no. Grits, maybe.
Grits, 100%. Name me a better Grits movie.
I don't know. I didn't do the research on Grits movies.
I mean, there's just
best Grits movies.
What's the first pop-up?
True Grit.
True
so
Grit.
they're taking it literally.
Definitely My Cousin.
64 Buick Skylark convertibles, yes.
I was going to say Tire Tracks. Is this apex mountain for Tire Tracks?
Well,
that's good. I like that.
It's apex mountain for like automotive intelligence, right? For like mechanical intelligence, right?
Old school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to sort of overlook that. It's the linchpin of the movie, but also I don't recall a film, even those great driving movies, where you are listening to a person actually explain to you
what like an axle does.
Yeah. Automotive history and the actual mechanics of the pieces of the car that make the car work.
Best racehorse name. Cousin Vinny?
Sure. I would say I wouldn't be putting a lot of money on Cousin Vinny as a horse, but it would be a cool name.
Wazoo, Alabama.
Wazoo, Alabama? Great.
Yeah.
Picking-nits. Macchio's just not scared enough in the first 15 minutes. And I'm not sure if it's because he's not the greatest actor or what's going on. But I would just be way more scared. It's like I'm in Alabama and I'm being arrested for murder. I'm having a heart attack right now.
He also...
It's very calm.
He's a white guy. This is why if you put Will Smith in the movie, Will Smith is like...
Right, he's terrified.
He's terrified.
We mentioned all the other picking-nits. You have any?
Why is there a manual for the hotel faucet in the hotel room? Remember when she's just like, I read the manual about this sink.
Oh, I've got
And it's
one.
just like, was that a common thing in the 90s where it's like, if you have any needs, you can fix the appliances yourself. The manual is in here.
Little unusual.
But I think again, there's so many things
I know
in
it's
this
supposed
script.
to be her technical expertise.
Yeah. Well, yes, but mine along the same lines is we are at some point we understand because Vinny explains to Stan this moment from their childhood where he saw Vinny. He's just got a great bullshit detector and he just knows when people are lying. He can call out magic tricks and he can tell magicians like he can bust your magic trick open if you're a magician. So a scene after that, is it the wad of cash sequences? The only reason that wad of cash sequence is there is so that we can see the proof of what Macchio is telling.
Which is he never loses an argument.
He never loses an argument, and he can call bullshit on it, and the other person being called out will just fold. It scene does not need to be there. Otherwise.
Sequel, prequel, prestige TV, all black cast or untouchable. What would you do?
I think all black cast.
If it's all black
amazing, but it's hard to imagine anybody else doing this.
Yeah,
but Pesci.
I think it's untouchable because of the two actors.
My cousin Vincent, like
My Cousin Vin.
Yeah,
Kevin Hart.
Oh,
as the lawyer, right? Kevin Hart comes down. I mean, I can see an all black cast version of this.
Come on, Kevin Hart would never remake an iconic
movie. But yeah, I don't. This is perfect the way it is. Just leave it.
Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Catherine Hahn, Steve Buscemi, Sam Jackson, J.T. Walsh, or Philip Baker Hall?
I think in 1992, you probably still could have just cast Sam Jackson as the cook, right?
Oh.
You know, you could have this movie could have gone into production.
You could.
Between Goodfellas and Jungle Fever.
You could do that. Or Wayne Jenkins could say, "God damn, Mona Lisa! I didn't know I was dating Toto Wolff! You're talking about Pause Attraction! If it wasn't for you, Stan and Bill would be going away a long fucking time, big boy!"
I think Wesley forgot you were going to do that. That made it even better. He had like the preamble.
That made it totally worth it. I didn't really have one for this time, but then you set it up so well.
Oh my God.
I have a question for this category. Should we shoehorn Joe Pesci into it?
Oh, if Joe Pesci would make the movie better?
Just should he be there with Trejo and Han and Buscemi and Sam Jackson,
so.
JT
We
Walsh?
haven't really given those people a lot of their due over the last couple
Maybe
of months because of Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne's kind of overpowered everybody.
But I'd like to go back and put Pesci in a bunch of movies now.
Yeah, I'm going to add him for the next one. Just one Oscar who gets it. Tomei got it. Probably unanswerable questions. Did Vinny and Lisa stay together?
Yes. 100% yes. There's that great...
Yes?
Just them.
Sierra's a little less sold.
I don't love a movie that ends with a shot of anybody doing anything in a car. I just don't want to. I hate those endings.
Okay.
I feel like they're just like a lazy screenwriting.
What's like another
cliche.
Example of that?
Good Will Hunting.
Oh,
You're watching people you're watching a car drive somewhere.
Right.
I hate it. Thelma and Louise, technically.
Is that how Rain Man ends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know.
Is
but
it?
It feels like it
Yeah.
should.
Did Wesley just... No, Rain Man ended with a train.
So you just don't like people driving away to
I
end the
don't
movie?
Wesley just shit on the Good Will Hunting ending?
I don't like it. I don't like the shot. I don't mind the actual ending. But the last
Hasn't Elliott
thing
Smith
we're
suffered
seeing,
enough? Now you're shitting on the Good Will Hunting
if
ending?
a car is driving away, I don't want to see it. But in this movie, it's a car driving away, but there's like something
With
beautiful
no-
happening in the car.
It feels like they just wanted to wrap it up.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit, we're at 2 hours. Get this out
They
of here.
confirm that they're going to get married. There's some great banter between
So you
the two
wanted
of
like a
them.
wedding scene.
No, I didn't want that. I love this ending. This is the ending.
Okay.
I don't want a wedding. Because I like the ambiguity of
Right.
Maybe Chris is... I don't know if you're saying they won't stay together, but...
I just think that, like, I mean, I don't know if a lot of the lessons he's learned from this story translate to the Brooklyn court system. You know?
I don't know. Maybe it does, though.
There's a couple of other things I'd like to address.
Let's
One
hear
is it's half picking it, half possibly a minutes per question, but they just have a capital punishment protest happening at the prison.
What was up with that? That
And
feels like a deleted scene.
It's weird because there's a protest, but there's also this really flippant, like, yeah, sometimes we have to electrocute guys 3 times and then their heads catch on fire. It's like, so it's halfway the death penalty is a joke, half they're protesting it. And the other is there no media whatsoever?
Yeah.
In this region, because
This is the real. See, this is getting real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a thing that is happening, like, away from the eye of the press.
Right.
And it's very conceivable that if Vinny had not shown up,
but it conceivably one journalist could be like, how did you guys arrest these people?
But that person's not right.
Right.
Person
What was the name
exist.
of this town?
Wazoo.
You said the Wazoo Gazette.
But even like a Tuscaloosa paper may send a stringer out.
What's going on with those
Yeah.
two? What was the other one you had?
Oh, just like what the hell else is happening in the town besides the trial? Because it just seems like 4
Everybody's
businesses would
glued
be
to it, yeah.
closed because they were like, I'm going to the trial today.
What do you have for best double feature choice with this movie? I was going to say Goodfellas to this is pretty great. It's just a great 5 hours. And you just get the full Pesci
This movie
experience.
is too close to the length of Goodfellas for its own good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
that's true.
The other one I was thinking was that movie he made with Rodney Dangerfield. What was that movie?
Pesci?
Yeah. He's in that movie. It's in the mid 1980s.
I would actually just because I love the movie and also she's great in it, as I would throw the paper on.
Yeah, I think this is a
Do
good.
another Marisa
This
Tomei.
is that era.
Oh, the paper.
Yeah, the paper's a good one. I like that.
The Easy Money.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I
It's
gotta
funny
admit,
that you
Didn't quite work.
I don't remember.
It was
Pesci in
Rodney's
that movie.
first foray post Caddyshack.
Yeah, I don't remember
Didn't
Pesci
totally
in that
hit.
movie.
But the Andy and Red Zawantne Award, what happened the next day? We just covered that.
No, I got one for this.
What?
So obviously Bill and Stan, they're at NYU and now they're going out to UCLA on scholarship. So I
think it's USC even.
UCLA.
Yeah. Oh, is it UCLA?
But I figure they're in film school.
Yes.
So
yes.
are these guys the Coen brothers? Like what movie? And do they make a movie out of this experience? And if they do, is it like a horror movie? Like what's the film they're making out of this?
It's basically Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the legal system.
Yeah.
I'm going to say they weren't very good writers.
Bill and
Those
Stan.
two morons. Yeah, Bill and Stan suck.
I don't know. I kind of like.
You don't think they're like Lowell and Babalu? They're like dialing up.
Oh, could be. I wouldn't put. I actually like that comparison.
What memorabilia would you want from this movie? If you could have any piece.
Well, Wesley pointed out the Ewings. Those would probably be a nice.
I would take
the Ewings. That's good. I like that. I was thinking Pesci's wig would be good.
You took
Pesci's wig or a plate of grits.
Just wear it around.
You know?
Yeah.
Coach Finstock Award for Best Life Lesson. I'm going to say no self-respecting Southerner uses instant grits.
Yes.
That's good.
And everybody responds. The thing I love about this movie is, I mean, I'm just going to go back to the jury stuff, like the gasps, like the audible gasps in the courtroom. That's a thing that you love to hear in one of these movies.
Yes.
There's some applause in one part.
Yeah.
We never talked about that. There's jury selection in this. We talked on A Time to Kill about how much we like jury selection.
Oh, it's great. I was watching the other day that had a great jury selection scene is Suspect.
Oh,
yeah.
And because the whole thing is Quaid is in the jury.
Sharon Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
That's
Does it upset you that The Juror didn't work as a movie with Demi Moore kind of in her peak, Baldwin?
But it's such a
not good.
Bad idea. I mean, it's just like a bad.
Didn't work.
Nothing worked.
I still feel like nobody's cracked the.
I have to go back to Runaway Jury. I haven't watched it in a long time.
It's not bad.
That's Cusack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold up. I mean, I watched it maybe. Well, it's been 10 years, but like, I have watched it since it came out.
Who won the movie?
I think Tomei did.
Marisa Tomei.
Okay, I do too.
Because if you just think about the pile of
Debbie
other
Mazar.
people you could have put in that part and it wouldn't have worked. This is a person who has complete command over this part from the beginning, from the beginning to end.
My Twitter notifications are going crazy because some guys got 56 points in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you have to turn this on.
Yeah. I mean, and I just am trying to go back to that moment for everybody who saw this movie and did not know that the thing she wins the Oscar for is the shock of how like I feel like I'm gonna cry just thinking about how amazing, just like you mentioning, just turning the sound off and watching that sequence.
Yeah.
Just watching their bodies. It's just, I just can't think of a moment in a movie where somebody comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Is that good with a person you know in a movie that does not
It's cool.
matter.
We just did Primal Fear, and that's like another.
Right, Edward
but
Norton's
that's one of the
one.
other. Like, there's not that many.
One.
There's not that many. Like, first big shot, and this is what you get.
Shannon Tweed and Hot Dog the movie.
Thresher.
Thresher.
Yeah, but I just feel like Marisa Tomei in this movie is just one of the great welcome to American popular
So we're
culture
letting her
moments.
keep the Oscar for this. I'm
Yes.
glad.
Oh my God.
I've always felt that way.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going to be like Plowright was robbed.
You got to watch Plowright. A couple scenes.
I've seen Widow's Peak about 75 times because it was at the Ritz at the Bourse all summer of 1992.
I'm sure my dad kept that one
I
propped
love
up
Joan
the entire
Plowright
time.
in that movie, but
if Roxy had been nominated, though, I think it's more of an argument. The dance floor scene.
You know who would have been a killer Roxy? Marisa Tomei.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
How tall do you think Marisa Tomei is? Not tall, right?
No, she's like maybe my
5'3",
height.
5'4"?
My height, I'd say. You know, she was also really good. Speaking of Roxy, is opposite Taraji P. Henson on Empire. Do you remember that story?
Oh, yeah.
She was like the crazy oversexed music executive who wanted to get with Taraji. And Taraji was like, I'm down.
She's great.
Do you think, can I ask you one last question?
Yeah.
After doing this one, we don't have another comedy in Courtroom Thrillers or Courtroom Month.
Do we?
Or do we?
Or do we?
Oh, that's right, because you've put it to Democracy.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's winning, right?
It seems like it's winning.
But do you like if given your druthers, like, do you like courtroom comedies?
I like when it gets dark in the courtroom.
That's my preference as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like one of the greatest. Okay. I think Legally Blonde is one of the funniest movies.
I just watched this with my daughter and my wife a week ago, and we were saying the same thing.
The trial
it's so good.
Scenes in that movie, even though it's like it hinges on somebody being outed
for a perm.
It's still so ridiculous. But it's like a Paul Rudnick style like use of homosexuality, right? It doesn't feel homophobic to me.
Right.
I just think that trial stuff is so funny. And again, it's a sports movie, right? A person who should not be practicing the law in this way out of the gate, winning the case.
Right. That movie's great.
I think legal comedies, when they work, there aren't that many of them, but when they do work, like there's a I think She Done Him Wrong or I'm No Angel, the Mae West movie,
right,
has a very long. She's on trial for basically sex, essentially.
Yeah.
Cary Grant is Cary Grant is suing her basically for not marrying him. I'm getting a little bit of this wrong, but at some point she's on the stand and they call her maid up to the stand to testify up against her for who's been in and out of the house. And I think at some point she cross-examines her own maid, and it's kind of depressing for the racial reasons. But as comedy, it's really funny based on like what the maid is sort of forced to say about Mae West in the courtroom. It's just when you can find a way to be funny about the law, I don't know. It's hard to do, but if you can do it really works.
I still need a Did You Order the Code Red? You know what I mean? Like that's still the
but Legally
spice
Blonde
for me.
is giving you basic, like you know what I mean. The comedy can still give you that.
Sure.
Like the grit scene is essentially that.
Yes.
Were you guys watching live when OJ tried the gloves on and they didn't fit?
I did see that.
It was incredible. and he was doing this thing.
Yeah, no,
I mean, kind of looking around. I was like, oh my God.
But again, I think one of the reasons we do not have these movies anymore in some way is that somehow real life has superseded our capacity to imagine.
In a movie like this. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we just can't do it.